Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel where I'll cover on the 3 safety net to ensure financial stability, which are namely CPF, insurance and investment. So in today's discussion, we'll cover on the CPF monthly contribution rate. Without further ado, let's go in. How much you can contribute depends on your age as well. So in CPF, there's actually some tier base, 55 and below, above 55 to 60, above 60 to 65, above 65 to 70, and lastly above 70. So for illustration purposes, we will illustrate examples using 55 and below. Before we want to go in, we want to understand what is the CPF contribution rate from 1st September 2023, which is applicable for Singapore citizens or Singapore permanent residences, which is 3rd years onwards. Because for PR, which are in their 1st year and 2nd year, they have a different calculation. So over here, as illustrated, we are based on 55 and below to do more examples. Next, we also want to understand the CPF salary ceilings. So we all know that CPF, there's a cap on the salary ceiling, capped at 6,000 before 31st August 2023. So for this period, this has increased to 6,300, and subsequently it will keep on increasing until it reaches a cap of $8,000 from 1st January 2026. So let me do an example of the CPF salary ceiling based on 6,000 cap. So I have here Mr. A, who is age 38, drawing a salary of $7,000. And note that based on the first chart, there's a 37% of the wage with a ceiling cap of $6,000. So how much CPF will be credited to this Mr. A's account? Okay, so based on CPF self, 20% of 6,000 is 1,002. CPF employer contribution is 70%, which is $1,020. So this adds up to the total of 2,220, which is 37% of the ceiling wage of 6,000. So how about Mr. A, who continues to work and have a ceiling cap between 1st September to 31st December 2023? So because of the increase of $300 of the ceiling cap to 6,003, right, the calculation is a little bit different. So Mr. A, still the same, 38 years old, 7,000, 37% wage with ceiling cap. So how much will it be? So now with the CPF contribution increasing to 6,003, Mr. A will have a CPF contribution of 1,260, followed by the CPF employer contribution of 17% of the 6,003, which amounted to 1,070. And this total adds up to 2,331, which is an additional of $111 every single month. Let's fast forward to CPF contributions beyond 1st January 2026, where the cap is capped at $8,000. So now we have this person called Mr. B, which is age 42, with a salary of $10,000 and a 37% of the wage with ceiling cap of $8,000. So let us look at the calculation and how the CPF is being credited. So for the CPF self is still 20% of 8,000, which amounts to 1,006. Next, we have the CPF employer contribution of 17% of the 8,000, which gives us 1,360. So therefore, the monthly CPF contribution amounts to 2,960, and it's also 37% of the ceiling cap. But this also means an additional of $740 every single month. So is this a good thing? Well, it's actually a double-edged sword. I personally think that you actually save more in CPF, which have important meaning in the long run. So let's look at another instrument, the tool for employers and employees to calculate their CPF contributions. Okay, so this rate is effective January 2024 onwards. So let us look at some examples as well. So when you click into this calculator, right, there's actually 3 selections, 1, 2, and 3. So namely, number 1, we'll touch on Singapore citizen and PR, which are 3rd year and more. So let's look at the example from the first selection. So after keying in your contribution month and keying your ordinary averages, I take 1,000 as a base and for illustration purposes. We can see that the CPF contribution comes out to $307, which is 37% of the CPF ceiling wage cap. Okay, so employer contribute 20%, while employer contribute 17%, gives us a total of $370. Okay, so we want to go inside this because it falls below this belt. within this belt 35 to 45 years old is 37% CPF contribution. Okay, so over here, if you key in your birth month and year, you will actually calculate the total wages and the total contribution done for the CPF. Next, we look at how about PRs who are in their first year and second year who actually has a CPF contribution. Let's look at more in depth into this first and second year PR status. Okay, so over here, this is the contribution rate. So if you are 55 and below, the employee wages, depending on what is your total wages for every single month, and the two calculation is as such, which we illustrate over here. And of course, for the second year PR, you see a slightly increase of 4% to 9% for PR with a CP Singapore with a SPR status in the second year. Alright, I hope the session is beneficial to you. If there's any queries or any doubts, feel free to email me, and I look forward to see you in my next video. Thank you.